All the Young Dudes by MsKingBean89, Chapter 95, Summer 1976, Part 3, Peace Talks. It wasn't easy for Remus to keep Sirius at a distance while he was staying for the Potters. The house was big enough, but that didn't matter much in a family home, something Remus was only just learning. Mrs. Potter gave Remus a space during the first couple of days, but after that, it was clear that she had no idea of the rift between the Marauders and expected the three boys to spend all of their time together as usual. As much as they were each uncomfortable with this arrangement, for their own reasons, none of them wanted to disappoint or worry Euphemia. So, an uneasy truce was struck, and Remus spent most of his time reading his book, sitting close enough to James and Sirius that it did not look suspicious. Grant had said it wouldn't always hurt, and though he hadn't had the full facts of the situation, Remus was starting to believe him. He still felt angry towards Sirius, but it hurt less as the final weeks of summer drained away in a flood of sunshine and blue skies. He was able, at least, to be civil, and Sirius seemed grateful. At any rate, he had stopped trying to corner Remus into a conversation every 5 minutes. Besides, after his conversation with Moody, Remus had other things occupying his mind. For years now, he had been labouring under the assumption that Greyback did not know him, that he would have the element of surprise in his corner. But now, it seemed that Greyback might be looking for him too. He would not tell the Marauders this, not until he knew more. No use getting them worried. If Moody had said that Hogwarts was safe, then Remus was inclined to believe him. For now, the Potters clearly trusted him, and that would have to be enough. What was more, he knew Ferox. Remus had had Ferox on his mind too. Once again, his old professor seemed like the safest option when it came to asking questions. He understood Remus's need to know more, even if he didn't know why exactly. And Remus didn't want to bother Mr. Potter, not when he seemed to have the weight of the world on his shoulders already. He would send an hour to Ferox as soon as he was back at school, and as soon as the dust had settled on his recent revelation. In the meantime, Peter came over every day, and they went out on their brooms. Russ lounged about on the lawn, smoking, listening to Sirius's record player, and sunbathing. Remus turned a warm hazelnut brown all over, which made him look healthier than he ever had, and his hair bleached a shade fairer. On the penultimate day of the holidays, they were doing just this. It was too hot to move, and all four of them were lying on their backs, baking in the sun. Remus had positioned himself a little further away from the others, just to show Sirius that he was not off the hook. Also because Sirius had an annoying habit of taking his shirt off, and Remus was trying not to notice. So tell me again, Peter yawned up at the sun, arms behind his head. What was the night bus like? I've always wanted to go on it. Dream big, Petey, Sirius drawled. It wasn't that great, James replied. Can't wait till we can all elaborate. Lessons start in January. I'm going to be rubbish at it, Peter said, forlorn. Dazzy has been reading the theory books. I can't get my head around it. Well, it's better than relying on that stupid bus. James removed his glasses and rubbed his eyes. It's fine for magical locations, but the driver kept getting lost on the way to St. Edmund's. Remus's stomach flipped. He really hated the idea that James and Sirius had been there. He felt as though they'd seen some private part of him he would have preferred to keep hidden, like the first time he transformed in front of them. I can't believe I missed that too, Peter sighed. Were there loads of muggles? What was it like? Come on, Pete, James said. That's Mooney's home you're talking about. He's fine, Remus said. I bet it's great, living with loads of other people your age, James said, encouragingly. It was James's greatest sorrow that he had grown up an only child. Remus looked for the right word. It's noisy. Did you go inside? Padfoot did. Crawled under a hole in the back fence. Didn't go in the building, though, Sirius said, rolling onto his front. The muscles in his back moved smoothly under his skin, and Remus had to fight not to bite his lip. Some bitch started throwing stones at me. Matron, Remus confirmed. Must have been, Sirius nodded, obviously pleased at the attention. If she treats people the way she treats dogs, then I don't blame you for running away. It wasn't really about her, Remus said, pointedly. It's lucky Prongs and Padfoot found you, though, eh, Mooney? Peter smiled, blissfully ignorant. Otherwise, you'd be lost in Muggle London. I wasn't lost, Remus said, icily, putting his book down finally. I was with a friend. But James said he was in a squat, Pete, not alone. It was with this Muggle chap. Sorry, Remus, I've forgotten his name. He didn't tell us his name, Sirius said, out of nowhere. Remus sat up and squinted at him. Sirius was staring at him in a strange way, but it only brought Remus's hackles up. No, he replied. I didn't. He got to his feet. I'm going in. It's too hot. James, who seemed to have grasped that the conversation had taken an unpleasant turn, got up to you. Yeah, you're right, Mooney. Shall we all go in for a bit? Have a drink and do that washing up Mum wanted sorting. She'll be back soon. Mrs. Potter had left for the afternoon on an errand, and Mr. Potter was at work. Gully was in the house somewhere, of course, but he never made his presence known unless summoned. The boys were pretty much alone. I'll go home if you're going to do chores, Peter grumbled, struggling to his own feet. I can do housework at mine. Cheer up, Wormy, James slapped him on his sweaty shoulder. There's jam tarts in the kitchen. You can have the marmalade one if you want. The four of them strolled back across the crisp brittle lawn to the house, stopping at the shed so that Sirius and James could put their brooms away first. Peter went straight in for his tart, and Remus hung back on the patio, between them all, feeling very put out and agitated. He sat on the low brick wall again and listened to Sirius and James's cheerful banter from inside the shed. I ought to polish the handle again before I pack it away. Bloody hell, Prongs, you polish it twice a day already. It's called looking after your equipment, Black. I call it sexual frustration. Piss off. There was a scuffle, and Remus could hear Sirius's gleeful cackling as the two boys wrestled. Wait till we're back at school and I can curse your bollocks off. Don't you dare. Some of us use our bollocks. You tosser. Oh shit, watch out. Ah, Sirius cried. Bugger, that hurt. They both staggered back out into the daylight, Sirius clutching his hand. What did you do? James asked, peering over. He paled upon seeing Sirius's hand and backed away. Sorry, mate. You know I am with blood. Ugh, it's really bleeding too. Oi, get away from me. What shall I do? Wait till your mum gets home? No choice. I ought to know any healing spells. Ow, it bloody hurts. Oh, for God's sake, Remus stood up, squinting. Let me see. Sirius and James both turned to look at him. Sirius's eyes flickered to James and back at Remus before he walked over and outstretched. The cut was very deep, blood running in rivulets down Sirius's long white wrists. Remus swallowed. You need to clean it out. It'll get infected. Hang on, I've got some stuff in my trunk. He led Sirius through the kitchen, upstairs to the first floor bathroom, and turned on the cold tap. He had some TCP in his trunk left over from St. Edmund's, where he often had to look after his own scrapes when Madame Pomfrey wasn't around. He brought it through, along with some cotton balls and gauze. Come here, he said, sitting on the edge of the bathtub, and motioning that Sirius sit on the closed toilet seat. He obeyed, still holding his hand out warily. It was much cooler in the bathroom, reassuringly sterile, like the hospital wing. Remus found that very common. Sirius was placid and docile, trusted Remus completely with watchful eyes, like a pet. What's that? He asked, as Remus tipped some disinfectant onto the cotton. TCP, he said. It'll clean the wound. Is it Muggle stuff? I'm sure it will work just the same, Remus raised an eyebrow. He took Sirius's wrist, gripping it more roughly than he really needed to. His skin was hot from the sun. Remus could feel its pulse. It's going to sting, he said, as he pressed down. Sirius flinched, and Remus was reminded of the time after Christmas they'd spent in the Potter's bathroom, piercing Sirius's ear. Will it hurt? Sirius panicked at the last moment, as Remus was poised with the pin. Well, we've numbed it a bit, but yeah, probably, Remus said, matter-of-factly. Don't be such a girl. Be gentle with me, Mooney. They had both laughed, and Remus shook him fondly. Stay still, you big wuss. He finished cleaning the wound and then wrapped it in gauze, taping it neatly. Probably throb a bit, he explained. Meant to be tight. Stops the bleeding. Thanks, Mooney. Any time. Remus went to get up, placing both hands on the cold porcelain of the tub. Sirius suddenly reached out and touched his arm. I'm sorry. I know, Remus replied. You've said. What I did... Sirius licked his lips nervously, still grasping Remus's arm, as if that was the only thing keeping him in place. Don't, Remus frowned, his resolve weakening. But we ought to talk. We can't, Remus said, simply. I can't anyway. There are no words for what you did to me. No, Sirius hung his head. You're right. He let go, but Remus didn't walk away, though he knew he ought to. Sirius ran his uninjured hand through his hair in frustration. I'm such an idiot, he said. Remus did not refute this. Sirius continued. It was a really good year, wasn't it? 5th year, spending the moons together, and the parties. Then I went and ballsed it all up. Well, Remus relented, I made some mistakes too. I made things were different after my birthday. What? Mooney, no. Sirius's eyes widened. He looked so earnest and sincere that Remus wanted to forgive everything in an instant. I know I wasn't... You didn't do anything wrong. What happened on your birthday, it was... Remus held his breath, while Sirius searched for the word. It was really brave, Sirius finished. Remus blinked. Brave? What on earth was that supposed to mean? Sirius saw his reaction and tried to cover his tracks. I just mean that you shouldn't worry about it. That didn't change anything, okay? Okay, Remus looked down. Then, feeling braver, looked up. We never talked about that. You're my best friend, Remus. Sirius, please. And I know what I did. There aren't words, no. So to shut up and I'll do actions instead, okay? I'll prove I'm sorry, every day. I swear, I'll never do another stupid thing without thinking again. Remus gave him a small smile. Come on, Sirius smiled too, looking relieved. Yeah, okay, maybe a bit ambitious. I'll never do anything to hurt one of my friends, ever again. How's that? Remus breathed in deeply. Forgiveness would be such a blessed relief. It's a start.